The 2016 BMW IBSF World Championships are at Innsbruck in Austria on the mountain overlooking the double Olympic city. We're just outside the tiny village of Igls at the track that held the games in 1976 and getting ready for the most fun World Championship event, the team competition. Martin Haven and John Morgan, buckle up everybody, because this is where it all gets entertaining.
It's team competition. Men's skeleton, women's bob, women's skeleton, two-man bob. They each go starting according to a draw, and then worst to first in the following three disciplines. And the team with the lowest cumulative time wins, which means that they have to have every one of the disciplines participate at a high level. We've seen three teams with three good results and one bad, and they don't even win a medal.
Yep, we've got Olympic champions and world champions in our lineup. For Team International, this is Can-Am. We've got American and Canadians joining up. Russia, Olympic champion Alexander Tretyakov, bronze medalist Yelena Nikitina. They're the really strong elements in that first team. For Canada, we've got rookies in Alicia Rissling and Julia Carenti, but Elizabeth Vache, one of the standouts of the women's skeleton.
Tretyakov for Russia. Yannikina, those people are strong. Russia's got two good teams. For the Austrians, hometown favorites, you know, they could surprise. They won a bronze medal here in a team competition a couple years ago.
Well, the USA joining up with Canada as well for this second international team. Katie Uhlaender and Justin Olsen making their seasonal bow. And Team USA too, Nick Cunningham, Jamie Grubel-Poser for the bobsledders. An international German and Romanian team. Romania handled the bobsleigh duties, the Germans handling the skeleton.
Team USA won. Antoine, Myers, O'Shea, Holcomb. They put the four best right there. They could challenge for a medal.
And the Canadian lead lineup with the Olympic champion Kaylee Humphries and World Championship medalist this weekend, of course. Austria's second team, Alex Auer, Katrin Beil, Karina Meyer and Marcus Treichel. They're the junior squad, if you like.
Alex Junk, Schneider-Heinz, Herman, Lochner. I think that's the most dominant team so far. I would put them as the gold medal favorites.
And Nico Walter with Stephanie Schneider, Mika Zachar and Jacqueline Lurling aren't to be counted out. One team from Great Britain, Don Parsons, Misha McNeil and Alicia Kittle, joined by Laura Dees and Bruce Tasker,
Hi,
who just finished in fourth place in the two-man worlds with John Baines joining him on the sled.
Nice to see her smile. Christina Hengster, rough weekend for her.
Maria Constantin joining that Romanian-German international team, and Lynette Prediger hasn't raced in World Cup this year. She was the forerunner in Whistler, but she's here for the Worlds. Kasia Lee gets her first women's bobsled start in a two-seat sled as opposed to a four-seater. So they all went into a big hat. It comes out with one of our international teams leading off. Look for Russia, one to be strong. The Austrians have got a good medal chance.
Germans.
And the Germans, well, they have won 5 of the 7 team competitions that have been held at World Championships
US
before.
has won the other 2.
Exactly so. So we're heading now into our 8th ever Team World Championships competition. And Nathan Crumpton, well, he knows he's got the Olympic champion coming up next behind him in men's skeleton for Russia, but he is the man who will set the pace for this international team.
Well, the skeleton and bobsledders working together, even though they practice on the same track, there's a lot of different mentality between the athletes of skeleton and the athletes of bobsled, but here they get a chance to join together and compete. And the bobsledders always say, we know it's going to be close amongst the bobsledders, but the skeleton, there can be some real diversity of times in skeleton. So this is where it's so important for the skeleton athletes to keep it close.
30 years old, born in Nairobi, Kenya in Africa. He is a World Cup rookie this season, Nathan Crumpton.
He's a good start athlete, Ivy League guy from Princeton.
Former triple jumper had knee surgery over the summer and yet was still among the top fastest US athletes.
He's starting to figure things out. Top 5 finish in Park City, Utah a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
First time,
Great
best result for him.
Great frame as well, has a long, rangy frame like Matt Antoine that works well for skeleton.
And that start time he possesses will be really good for him in the competition later next weekend.
Okay, 52.97, there's Coach Tuffy Latour.
We don't have any references to start.
No, he is setting the reference, isn't he? Because the well, haven't had a men's skeleton start record shown yet this week.
We will.
We will next week.
Watch the start. This is a track and field athlete here. Look at his hands. Now watch the left hand just like sprinting. Look at that technique. You recognize that, you track and field people? Little bent over position though at the start. And down here, well, this is where you're going 75 miles an hour with your chin just inches off the ice. And he's first man down. He's our rabbit.
He's our leader. But next up is the Olympic and world champion Alexander Tretyakov, the 30-year-old Russian. 2013 world champion, started in this sport back in 2001, considered himself to be the old man of the Russian team.
Yeah, he's the Russian rocket, and he still has fuel. I mean, the guy is, look at that. I mean,
goodness.
Nathan Crumpton is a great athlete and a great starter, but he hasn't seen Tretyakov. Tretyakov was not in North America. Take a look at that start time, 4.73.
Gives him a half a second advantage, and any advantage you can gain in any of these legs is going to be crucial. Strongest element of this Russian team will be their skeleton sliders. Their two bobsled athletes may not be able to match the fastest. Look at all the iPad centers.
They want a piece of him. It's the first time they've seen him down, the skeleton athletes. That's the line they want, because he's going to go the fastest because of the start time. We aren't going to see Martin Stukars tonight. Latvia's not in the competition.
Which is a shame. They lack a women's bobsled. I'm sure there'd have been a women's bobsled team happy to go with the Dukars brothers.
Sure, anybody. Yeah. You win with those guys. Dukars brothers, and then they got the Predator. Yeah.
And Leila Predulena.
52-31. Now 6,600. There is what happens in the bobsled. You won't say that diversity of time. Now this is the Russian rocket. Now watch the track and field athleticism that he brings to the table. And he owns a track record at the start almost on everything he's ever competed on. Yes, he's a little older. What is he, 31 now?
30 now.
30 years old. He's old.
Ancient.
Yeah, it's not that ancient. He's got at least one more games.
So now for Canada 2, Barrett Martineau, ski jump coach. He was a 4-jumper in the Whistler Winter Games in ski jumping. This is his second World Cup season. He converted from leaping off mountains on skis to pushing off mountains on a tea tray after the Whistler Games.
He's had a pretty good improvement season, too. He's got top 10s finish, best finish last couple times out.
Great grizzly bear on the helmet, reflecting his nickname. Ooh. And pops the groove. Hits the wall. And struggling even to settle himself on the sled.
This is the Canada 2 team, so the Canada, I mean, it's not the loaded team, but still, the rest of the athletes are like,
oh. Chris Spring, who just posted a good top 10 finish in the 2-man, and Elizabeth Thatcher.
Well, that's also going to send a message back to everybody at the top to watch out for that left groove. I think the right groove is left or right.
Now the skeleton athletes here, because nobody else is training that's not in the team competition, they only had 2 practice runs down the track.
Boy, what you must have in your mind. I just blew it, not only for myself, for my team, my country. But you just, then you got to go 75 miles an hour down the track.
Yep. 53.72 compared to 52.31 for Team Russia 1.
Look at the way they stop here. This is pretty entertaining, the way they stop these skeleton sleds here.
Well, listen, it's the team competition. Canada 2 might not have fancied their chances of a medal. Better to get it out of the way now than when you go in the worlds.
Yeah, what happens here, we can't see, he's in the right groove, our left.
Misses his hand completely. His left hand was supposed to grab that left handle.
His feet hit, look at his left foot.
Well, that's because he was so off balance.
Yeah,
his left hand missed the handle, went underneath him. And
no question, it has nothing to do with the groove.
Yeah, then he's wrestling himself onto the sled, and that, I mean, how it doesn't happen every time is astonishing.
Then down here at 13, 12-13 combination, yeah.
Big height. Now trying to let it fly loose, Bear.
Get it out of the way, man.
Here it happens. Well, Nikita Chegabov, he's the one that makes Alexander Tretyakov feel old. 21 years old now, Nikita. Junior world champion the last 2 seasons. 6th in the Winter Games the year before that. He's only been sliding on ice since 2010.
Well,
and he too makes a big starting error, and that writes off Russia 2's chances, perhaps.
Maybe not.
Such a huge starter.
I was just ready to say, this is the Russian missile.
The British coach there talking into his radio, trying to figure out what's going on. Why is he coming past me so slow?
Yeah, he should have been right up there with Krejcikov at the start.
He even looks slow, doesn't he? Almost like a beginner.
He looks slower than Barrett Martin.
He is slower than Barrett Martin.
Martin punched the wall.
And now, of course, you're fighting this lead because you haven't got the speed to put it up the corners where you expect it to. And so,
well, now you are. Now he's at max speed.
But all those early corners, he's having to rethink his lines totally. 53.66 third, and that's only 600s ahead of Canada with Barrett Martineau's error. Well, that makes Martineau feel a whole lot better. Doesn't help Chegubov much, though.
No, let's see what happens here. It's like he was too light. He's running without any pressure or something. This looks fine. Oh, right out of the groove. Look at that.
The first couple of steps. Now, he could have turned it round and brought it back. He hadn't broken the beam.
Wow.
Or had he? Where's
they might
the
want to
start
take a look at that groove, because you shouldn't make a mistake
broken
there.
the start beam, I don't think. Clock wasn't running. Now, he started 5.46. Barrett Martineau 5.06.
Well, before Marino got over the top of the hill.
Yeah. Okay, well, pressure on the Austrians now. 2 of the last 2 sliders have popped the groove. Does that do much for Matthias Guggenberger's nerves? I don't suppose it does. Another brand new helmet for the World Championships. 499. Well, that might have been conservative, just to make sure he didn't blow the start. There, former coach, he's coaching the former slider for Austria, he's coaching the Belgians. You can see Belgian slider further up the track watching as well. They're all trying to pick up tips from these skeleton sliders for when they start training.
Wrong side of the exit there, Frazzle. So it affects him in 9-10.
Oh, big skid off 9. Currently in 3rd spot behind Tretikov and Crumpton. Crumpton first off. Pretty decent job so far, holding on to 2nd place. The Austrians go into 3rd.
Boy, 2nd back.
Yeah, it's going to be a big margin. 4/10 off Nathan Crumpton in the international team in 2nd spot.
Yeah, so I don't get
but we've
that.
Still got 9
Nathan
teams
Crumpton
to come.
Probably has 1/10 the amount of trips down the track than Guggenberger.
Not even.
Watch him come over to the right side of our screen here. Gets up here, comes out too early. She's way over in the right wall, our right, his left. Then into 8th, though. That wasn't bad.
Not bad
Still,
at all.
he lost an eternity of time on the way down the track.
We'll be hoping not to do that in the Men's World Championship competition next week. Starts Friday. 2nd of our international teams and another North American lead-off man. This is Saskatchewan's Evan Neufeld. Neufeld, a rookie in the World Cup last year. He's been racing in the Intercontinental Cup, the step below. There's a map of Saskatchewan on his Bromley sled. He's been juggling Bromley and Schneider sleds this year. I think he's actually gone back to the Schneider. One World Cup start this season, that was at Whistler. 5:05, decent getaway. And you know immediately the first 2 sleds, or the 3rd and 4th sled, popped out of the groove. The word is spread, and everybody, I think, being a little cautious.
Well, that Tretikov wasn't cautious.
No, well, they hadn't popped out the groove before him. He did a good job, though. International team number 2 in 4th place, ahead of Russia 2 and Canada 2. It's not a bad-looking line. Not sure how many times Evan Neufeld has been here. The Saskatchewan native. Saskatchewan, the flattest province in Canada, so of course he's in a downhill sliding sport.
There's a lot of flat provinces in Canada.
Yep, it is. It's a tough competition to win.
So the international teams are in second, third, ahead of the Austrians, Russians, and Canadians.
Did you know there was a desert in Saskatchewan? Sand dunes?
Yeah, just full of oil.
Yeah, and sand. He looked happy with that run, rightly so, Evan.
Well, sets him up for the World Championships. Here's down 11. Take on outlet. There's 12. Three-corner combination. There's the look at his head down. Look at his feet. Perfect bullet form. Good form there.
Hearing him being debriefed by the coaches. Yeah. There's 4, 5, 11, 7, 9, 10. Kyle Brown next up for the second US team. And again, we haven't seen much of the Concord, New Hampshire native this season. Former track and field athlete and ice hockey player.
I'm just being told now that Tretiakov was 100th off the start record.
Wow.
Well, that should send a little shiver to the rest of the field that he's that fit and ready to go for next weekend.
Oh, just about got on Kyle Brown.
Sometimes getting on this little tray with runners is not easy.
It's never easy. It's the best to make it look easy, but oh boy, it's not.
Fourth best start at 5:04. The diversity of the spread in the times.
Yeah.
66, 90, 106, 135, 141. You won't see those times in bobsled. I mentioned in the program at the start. There's always a bigger spread, more time to make up in the skeleton. And when the USA won the World Championships in 2013, the last time we held the event, it was Noel Pikus pace that blistered the field by 85 hundredths that led the US team to victory.
This team will run both times it's being held at Lake Placid. 53.18, that puts them into third place between our international teams. Alexander Tretiakov still in the leader's box. Was 300ths quicker than Evan Neufeld, so there's a tight little battle going on there for that podium spot.
Okay, how does he get on? It's easy, right? Cross your hands over. Now just jump on there, just like you did in the backyard as a kid. Oh, but I missed half the sled. So he just missed half the sled, and, you know, and then he had to adjust. And that don't think that doesn't deal with hundreds of seconds in the grooves when you know, put that much pressure down.
27-year-old Kyle Brown, long hair, don't care. Third place for him.
Live free or die.
Everybody.
So, Kilian von Schleinitz from Bavaria in this German-Romanian international team one. The Germans handling the skeleton aspect of it. Kilian from a very historic Bavarian family. His brother Julian, a couple of years older, also slides for Germany, but as a luge slider.
Kilian was the best German slider in the last event, St. Moritz, right?
Yeah. And it was his first World Cup race season. He's only had, I think, 2 World Cup starts now, maybe 3. 5:06, that's another good getaway. The last 3 guys, 5:05, 4, 6. Barrett Martineau, 5:06 as well. Despite popping the groove, so how much quicker would Martineau be?
Tretiakov, 4:73. He's on a different planet. Yeah, just unbelievable. He can still do it.
6 at the start from Schleinitz, up to 3rd place now. Now, of course, being a European youngster rather than the North American sliders we've just seen quite a few of, he knows this track much better.
This track's pretty well home to Germans, because the Germans just won 1, 2, and 2-man bobsled. They won the women's bobsled so far, so they've handed up 6 medals. The Germans have captured 3.
52.99 slide, 3rd fastest. 200ths off Nathan Crumpton. How many times Crumpton has been here? That was a great starting run from him.
Well, first guy down, best ice. Kilian.
Good stuff. Crumpton started 4.97 as well, which also helps here.
Little drift to the right.
Kazuhiro Koshi in the background, filming for the Japanese sliders. Slider, there's your leader. Russia 1 heading the field. We've had 8 of our 14 sleds down. Alexander Tretiakov, perhaps unsurprisingly, no, absolutely nailed on to be fastest unless somebody tied his shoelaces together. Now then, Matt Antoine leading off for USA 1. This is the loaded US team with their top stars in each of the disciplines. What can he produce at the start? If he can get down close to a 5-second, he will be really pleased.
He's been struggling with the start all season compared to, he used to be one of the top 3 starters in the world. So anything 5'10" or below is good.
Pretty much this season. A long winter for him, 12. Long summer for him, trying to rebuild his sprinting prowess.
You know, at St. Moritz, you could take that efficient start time and bring it back in that 1,700-meter track. Here in Igls, where it's 1,220 meters, not so easy.
8th at the start, up to 7th already. The Olympic bronze medalist from Sochi in 7th place at the Kreisel, turn 7, drops out, nice line. Little left of where he wanted to be for corner 8. 9 to 10 drifting action. All going to cost him, still in 7th place. Now up to 4th. Wow.
Flying in the bottom, good form. He can still slide. His thing is he has to overcome the start.
Top US team is Team 1 ahead of Team 2. So Matt
Tough of the tour is looking at that door. My guy's 8200ths behind Tretyakov.
Yep.
Whoa. That's a lot of time. I mean, if you go back in the World Cup, you probably see it 30, 40 hundredths. And this is a short track. But the start, that's what gives him such an advantage here.
Well, he's 39 hundredths behind at the start and only came down 82 hundredths. You should almost triple your start deficit. So that was a good drive from Matt Antoine.
No problem with his driving the sled.
Yeah. Rebuilding mentally, and his sprinting technique is on his to-do list for the summer. Dave Christcheshin from Brampton, Ontario, rugby player, world traveller, teacher, World Cup rookie last season.
The Grizz.
36-year-old, yeah.
Beautiful helmet. Canadians older, they get the award. Stunning helmet. And the biggest, thickest guy in the field.
In a good way. 5'12", same start as Antoine.
It looks like a bobsled.
Yep.
And the thing is, the sleds are the same for everybody. So it's, you know, Tretyakov looks like a mile runner. Grizz looks like a hammer thrower.
As soon as you lie down, that extra mass works for you. What you've got to do is learn how to use it. There, former Canadian slider with the video. Saw Caleb Smith beside her, who's the development coach for the British as well. 1 second away, currently in 8th place, ahead of teammate Barrett Martineau and the other Canadians, and ahead of the second Russian team as well.
As I said in the opening, there's not a lot of separation amongst the bobsleds, but in skeleton there can be a lot of separation of time, and boy, are we seeing it.
Yeah, Grizz shakes his head, not overjoyed with that run.
Watch his hands here, the crossover. Wow, he's the first guy we've seen just do, you know, leave his control of the sled.
Let it run.
Yeah, baby. Quite an athletic.
You've got to have the style that suits your body, haven't you?
Yeah, you got to
make
quite
it
an
work.
athlete to jump on there.
Yeah, and have some trust as well.
Plus you're running across ice.
Next up, Alexander Auer, son of Christian Auer, one of the standout Austrian skeleton sliders. Mind you, there's another one there holding the sled. Mickey Grumberger was a great skeleton slider for Austria. And we saw Andy Schmidt down the track, another one.
Okay, that's somebody dropped their... I just saw Christian Auer and met his wife. They're here, very involved with the organizing committee.
Brother also a slider for Austria in skeleton. He made his World Cup debut this season.
This guy looks just like his dad. Taller though than his dad. Christian Auer, this guy's dad, won at least 2 world championships, maybe 3. And once he didn't win, he was on the podium.
Alex, just 25 years old. His pet, Mr. Boggles. Not a cat, not a dog. It's a chipmunk. Really? Promise you. A word of a lie. He's got a pet chipmunk at home.
6600s.
4th place, up to 3rd. This is a really good-looking slide from the young Austrian. bumped Raphael Meyer out of their World Championship lineup with some great performances this season, and here we go. Okay, slipped down a little to 4th place behind Kilian von Schleinitz. Can he find something low line in the final corner?
He does.
Nails it.
By 100. He's after the one international team.
Yeah,
That was good.
there you go. So, Austria 2 in 3rd place. Yes, look at the smile on his face. Wow. Liking that. 52.98 for Alex Auer.
Well, if he becomes anything like his father, he will challenge for podiums. Good stride here. He's taller. His father's a couple inches shorter. His brother's shorter, too. Of course, his brother's young, but Auer showed some abilities driving the sled down the track.
Great.
There's his dad right there. There's Christian right there.
There you go.
Look at his dad. You think he's a proud character right there?
No, not a bit of it. Wow. Not a bit of it. Okay, so 3 teams to go. Men's skeleton all the way through first, and then we will reload, rejig the field, and send down the women's bobsleds in reverse order of their first heat performance. So, at the moment, it's the Canadian team with Alicia Whistling and Julia Carenti who might be out first. But what about Axel Jung? Germany won.
Yeah, well, Axel, you're leading off a pretty strong team, Axel, here, so don't screw up.
Well, he's a former world champion, junior world champion. Tina Herman, the women's skeleton slider, is the World Cup points leader. Schneidi for the women's bobsleigh just won the world championship. Landis Lochner, the junior world championship winner, and took the silver medal in the men's 2-man today. So they're loaded for bear, aren't they?
His goal is to come down and be in 2nd place. That's his goal. Just to, Tretiakov, don't worry about Tretiakov. I mean, Axel Jung's a very accomplished. He's a top 3 in the World Cup points, top 4.
Still just 24 years old.
Yeah, this guy's had a good season, good form. This is a lot of pressure on him to perform. The German men's skeleton team needs to get some results. And I think he's going to produce the next couple of years.
Great looking run.
That's 2,600.
Quarter of a second back.
He's only 1800s behind at the start at 26 at the bottom.
Oh, boy.
That's a big deal right there.
Oh, boy.
Okay, that sends a message to everybody that, yeah, Tretiakov.
Okay, down the bookies. Get some money. See what his odds are for a podium.
The Ducos brothers are watching this, probably noticed that.
Oh, yeah, okay.
How's the form here? Great. Good. Speed, line. Axel, you got to be happy with that.
Yeah.
So as the rest of your teammates.
Jens Muller, the coach,
Mission
he's
accomplished.
happy with that.
Mission
Great
accomplished.
job. Well, from there on in for that German team, it's world champions all the way. Now, Mikhail Zakrau's sled being handled by their coach. Heading up Germany too. Dirk Matchens, the coach with the sled, another former skeleton slider. He'll have raced against Christian Auer. Zakrau, one of the youngest sliders in the field, just 21 years old, another former ski jumper.
Not a bad start.
Yeah, 96, liking that.
Decent.
It's kind of the wild-eyed innocent who is just so excited about everything this season.
You would be too if they're his age out on the World Cup Tour.
No kidding.
Going to St. Moritz and Innsbruck, the Park City, and Whistler, and Lake Placid. You know, that's quite a postcard to send everybody. This is pretty good.
Yeah, third
top
place.
3, yeah.
Yeah, so at the moment we've got Russia, Germany, and potentially Germany too, stacking up in our top 3 spots ahead of the international teams, with Austria looking to get pushed down maybe to 5th place at the moment. That is still 3rd place at the line.
Pretty good.
Yes, it
Boy,
is.
there's 3 sleds separated by 300s. Look at Nico Walter in there looking at things. Johannes Becker, those guys are coming up later. They're there with Jens Mueller. They don't hang out with Jens Mueller too often.
No.
You know, and here that's what the beauty of this sport does. This event, it brings the bobsled and skeleton athletes together. Real low here coming off a 9. That's why that airborne on the exit. Here's the second part of that. You can see that was a rough exit of 9 and a skid. Otherwise, he'd be in 2nd place, 3rd place.
Has he got the biggest grin in the field? I think he usually has.
Well, he did his job.
Final team, Great Britain, Don Parsons, Londoner who now splits his time between London and the University of Bath, where British skeleton and bobsled are based. And he heads the field off, 28-year-old athlete supported by the Bromley Sled Company. Harry Benotus, another standout skeleton slider in his time, is the coach of the British team. Dom, another long, rangy figure, isn't he? And another good, fast starter as well. See if he gets down into the 90s. 5:01, not quite.
5:01, sehr gute Startzeit.
Sixth fastest start.
Just looking at their chances. I mean, you got Tasker and Bees coming in. Nick and Manil won't be too bad. Just how close can he? If he can keep it within 60 hundredths, gives the British a chance for a medal.
Yeah, if he gets in that mix with
65 hundredths.
Diesel hold her end up, and yeah, Bruce Tasker, our fourth in the two-man world championships. He's going to be the anchor leg. It's a good, strong anchor leg as well. Now at the moment, slipping out from 6th at the start, down to 7th position.
Probably 7th or 8th.
Well, don't forget 7th. Well, he is 14 hundredths off 3rd, and a 10th away from 6th position. Drifted away down at the bottom of the track. So Don Parsons finishes the first round, and we reset the field.
Take just a little bit to reset the clocks.
Yep.
First time our clocks gets challenged on this tour.
It's mental arithmetic that computers can do, but the programmers have to be very aware of exactly what's required. Yeah.
Dog is only as good as its master.
Yep.
There's the fastest guy down.
Yeah.
Really?
No
really?
surprises.
Trechikov was the fastest guy?
Well, with no Latvian team, he pretty much has the field to himself in the first leg here. And so it is Russia 1. But they lead off with absolutely their strongest card. That means for the rest, it's trying now to hold on to the lead. We will see changes. The lead, 26 hundredths of a second, is not enough to guarantee victory for the Russians. Would be the first time anybody other than the Germans win, but it's not yet done. Germany racked up 2nd, and then the battle for 3rd. Look at that, 14 hundredths from 3rd down to 7th place. That's a tight old battle.
Yeah, you can get that 14 to 25, 30 hundredths in the bobsled world, but in skeleton, then when the women's skeleton come back up here, again, that's where the separation is. But I don't know if there's a Trechikov in women's skeleton.
Well,
in the
it's
field.
Nikitina, the Russian,
Yeah,
the female Russian rocket. She might be their ace card.
Well, didn't she win on this track before?
She's announced, yes, she has, and she's an outstanding starter. Her first World Cup win came here in Igls in Austria. So the men's skeleton have gone down. Next up, we send the whole field of women bobsled runners down. They go in reverse order of their first heat performance. So the second Canadian team will go first, and the Russians will defend their lead. Then we go into the women's bobsled skeleton and the two-man bob to round out the competition. It's a good afternoon for sliding here. Not too sunny, not too damp. You can see some of our Belgian athletes. They competed in the Women's World Championship. Lots of Russians still up at the top. The yellow jackets are the Germans. Russian girls there. Those are the brake women who pushed in the first heat, the two on the left-hand side, in the women's competition, rather. And so they're taking a rest for the team's competition. Canada, too, will lead us off. We go last to fast. So those first two teams on the start draw, of course, they were the athletes whose sleds popped the groove in the men's skeleton run. Then Canada won, Austria won, who also had a drama at the start, didn't they? Popped the groove with Matthias Guggenberger, and then going all the way down to Russia 1, who will go last to defend the lead. So this is where it all gets a bit hectic, trying to figure out who's who and where's where. British skeleton sliders.
Nice afternoon walk in the mountains for a lot of people from the city of Innsbruck and Igls. Come on up. And pretty historic venue, this place.
So Canada first up. Alicia Rissling with Julia Carenti. Alicia, 26, from Edmonton, Alberta. Spent a year on the brakes, including braking for Kaylee Humphries. Second year driving now for the basketball player from the University of Alberta. And her 25-year-old brakewoman, Julia Carenti, 100-meter runner, long jumper.
University of Alberta or Edmonton?
Good question. Not that up on Canadian universities.
at Calgary University, their nicknames for dinos. Dinosaurs.
Well, she's from Edmonton, went to school there, so I guess.
University of Edmonton, that's a different.
72 die Startzeit hier. Die Startzeit hier im 200 der braunen Rahmen.
The start record, that is way down there. The start record is 5:38, held by Alana Myers.
Look behind me while you watch the screen. Let's figure out what she did in the Women's World Championships. What was her fastest start? 5:60s, I think. Just a fraction slower. She's had 2 trips down the track yesterday, 2 the day before after training.
She gets 1 today, so she's training and racing at the same time as the race yesterday. What about now? 53.74.
All right, Barrett Martineau. Here's a comparison that we've not done before. Barrett Martineau on the skeleton sled started 5:06, came down 53.72. The girls here started 5:72. A lot more weight to maneuver away from the blocks, of course, than the skeleton sled, but they came down 53.74.
Looks like she slipped there, left foot. Look at the athleticism it takes to power away from the bobsled blocks. And the brakeman here needs to get those arms locked in a little bit better. Yeah, they're all about the start times.
Yeah, that was a 72. Okay, next up is Nadia Sergeyeva with Yulia Egoshenko. So Yulia, 23 years old, first year on ice. She's only done 3 Europa Cup starts. And Sergeyeva, driving since 2013, 28 years old.
Boy, for them to be down in 13th place with their leadoff guy, Trekabov, wow, that's disappointing. He could probably get posted the second best time, if not match Trekabov, who stayed there.
Yeah, he's always very close there or thereabouts, isn't he? Their lead just creeping down from 1500ths to 900ths of a second.
She should be better than this. Had a much better start.
And that has just buried them for time.
What do you think Pierre Luders just did?
Winced, definitely. 300ths back. I think the Canadians could stay in the leader's box, and they do. So 53.90 slide. There's Barrett Martineau in the centre. Lucia Rissling and Julia Carenti rush off, not realising they're in camera shot. They're going to go and get a warm jacket. And Zvezda Sergeyeva. Just that, there's a little bit of ice wall that sticks out there, isn't there? And you drift out to it, and it comes out and knocks you into a skid.
Definitely penalizes you.
Yeah. So there's Sergeyeva with her brakewoman making her first senior appearance, Yulia Egoshenko. Well, the goggles give it away if the Olympic ring doesn't. This is our double Olympic and double world champion, Kaylee Humphries. First senior start in anything other than a 4-man sled for her brakewoman, Kasha Lee. And Humphries, as always, facing away from the track until she is set and ready to go. Brakewoman's been with her in the 4-person sled before, but not before in the 2-man. It's her first World Championships as well. 23-year-old from Ottawa.
Well, what a place to make your debut.
Yeah, kidding. Behind the Olympic champion. Yeah, I know. That's a nice ride. I wonder what you paid to get one of those.
Yeah. A lot of people pay money to get that back seat,
wouldn't they, though?
Well, Kaylee had a little start deficiency against the German Schneiderheinz. If she gets any equal start, she's going to win, in my opinion, against any other driver in the field. But, you know, when she originally won, she was winning with start times. Now she's winning and getting on podiums because she's the best driver in the field.
But here, of all places, you've got to have the start as well. She's extending her advantage over her fellow teammates. It's Canada 1-2, Russia in 3rd place. The gap out to half a second. There's your Canada 2 team.
It's only 4,800s off the track record.
Yeah.
It's not too bad. What's she doing in the race?
Well, haven't got the full. Let's take a look.
Runner on the left.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Runners out of the ice.
And they're going across it too.
Yep.
Well, I'll tell you what she did.
That's why they don't like you picking the sled up. They want you
Her
to be
worst time
pushing
was
it forwards.
53.31 in the second heat.
All right. Well, those were both in the afternoon as well.
Look at this shot. Such a fantastic picture.
Lyndon Rush helping with the sled. There's Kasia Lee closest to us, and Kaylee Humphries, her driver, behind.
Lyndon's lost about 10 kilos.
Yeah. Next up for Austria, Christina Hengster. Huge drama in the Women's World Championship when she rolled on her first run. Still came back to finish in a top 6 position with her brakewoman Sanna Decker.
Didn't have a good trip down the track on her second, third, or fourth trips, according to people close to her. She's, you know, a lot of pressure on her. We thought she looked tight in warm-ups before the event, and then the crash was... Boy, there's somebody would say, I'll bet you 500 to 1 she's not going to crash on this track.
Yeah.
And she's the third sled down in the World Championships, kicking off the... And she's the poster child. Her and Janine Flock are all over town on billboards, Speed Girls, and wow. Then I give her credit. What did she do? Put it all behind her, came out, and posted some great times.
She did. Stepped right back up into it, fought her way back.
Fifth, fourth, and
top
sixth
10.
best times in the final one of the 3 runs after that. So she's 10 hundredths ahead of Humphries.
Yeah.
Wow.
Keeping that advantage to the line,
7.
almost.
So she did her job.
Yeah, 53.49.
And what Humphries have? 53.43.
Yep.
It's pretty good. Humphries.
Humphries 53.49, so the same time for
Same
both
exact
sleds.
time.
Yep, they were 700ths apart and remain 700ths apart.
Start time second best. Well, this is where she crashed. She made it. She was okay here. So see where she's in the middle of the curve here, comes in, no problem. She was up there in the wood. And there's, well, I'm sure she's got being a little gun shy about coming out in and out of that curve.
So it is Austria that leads from Canada. With Canada in third place as well. 4 of our 14 teams down. And the presence of Tom Delahunty alerts you to our second Canadian sled. And again, the newcomers, Christine de Bruyne, with a brand new brakewoman behind her. And this is a big step up into the big time. This is Janine McHugh, 29-year-old, her second season on ice for the former ice hockey player.
Pretty quick, good, 5:76, not bad.
This is the first of our international mixed teams. We've got 3 of them in the competition. Tom Delahunty making sure all his athletes get a go.
This is where all the teams are separated by 5-6 hundredths. They're already in the red numbers. So they could fall 2 places because it's real close. With the Austrians and the Canadians at the top. 700 separating those 2 teams. So 3/10, so she's going to fall at least 2 places. I don't think she'll fall back to 60 hundredths back, which is the next team. That's the second Canadian team. So
there's only 7 numbers between them. The top
Evan
of the
Neufeld
shot.
is waiting for somebody to come join him in the box, and there comes the Canadian girls' 5th best time. They're half second, so they're in third. The Austrians have the lead. Michael Grunberger on the left, or Michael Grunberger on the left.
54.12 for them. So Christine de Bruyne and her brakewoman.
Okay, hopping in the sled. You think it's easy? Just, you know, yeah, just jump over. You're going 20 miles an hour. Then sit down and get your hands underneath the cowling and find the D-rings before the sled goes out of the start grooves. No problem. Then down the track when you're going 70 miles an hour, try not to steer on one of these steep curves. It's an easy sport.
There's Janine McHugh
Sorry,
behind.
she says.
Wasn't that bad, Christine. Well, next up, Jamie Grubel-Poser and Tara Evans joining her on the back of the sled.
First time for Tara.
Yeah.
Boy, she looks quick. Look at her head locked. That's some good teaching right there.
26-year-old from Arizona, loves Mexican food and beaches.
5:66.
Makes you wonder how she got into this last autumn, doesn't it?
300s behind Humphrey's start, which was the best. 1000s lead. Jamie's didn't have a great World Championships, and she had medaled at 6 of the 7 World Cups, so it's still perplexing that she didn't do better here because she has a good start. Ooh, look at that mistake. Wow. She's going to be red numbers next clock.
Hasn't got a head around this track all week long, and still it's eluding her.
Yeah.
From 1800s up to be a 10th behind at the next clock. Not quite.
Hanging in there. Boy, oh boy. That mistake got a curve 9, the Kreisel.
Yeah.
Well, she hung in there. You know, Christina Hengster and Sonia Decker. There's nothing wrong with hanging out in that leader's box.
Yeah.
That's a good strategy.
Well, they lie in second place with 6 of our 14 teams down.
Okay, here's the Kreisel. Watch her get out and go on the right side of our screen. Bang, and watch this entry. This is out of 9. This is the problem out of 9.
Hauls it straight into the wall.
Yeah. We didn't see much out of the Kreisel. I bet you going into 8, she was skidding all the way. But she's good attitude.
Yep.
She doesn't let it show on her forehead.
Well, our second US sled with the outgoing world champion Alana Myers-Taylor with Lauren Gibbs behind her. Saw her crown handed over to Anja Schneider-Heinze, but these girls finished on the podium in the Women's World Championships.
Very accomplished collegiate athletes in the United States. George Washington in the front seat, Brown University in the back. And they should post the best start, should be in the 50s.
31-year-olds.
62, wow. I thought they'd definitely be way up there. Still the best start of the competition by 100.
Yep. Kelly Humphries Cashali, 563, they were 562. Team advantage now, 2400s, losing a little ground to our
It's going to cost her there. You saw her get on the Kreisel and the sled climb on it, but she tapped Uchi to the skid. That's her teammate. Here comes the time down. And late there.
Well, this isn't a drive that she put in the Women's World Championships, and just as well, that would have taken her off the podium.
It's going to be right to the 100.
Can't believe it. Look at them in the bottom box.
Right to the 100.
200s behind. The Austrians move up 1. So, USA Team 1 and 2 behind the Austrians. And that is the World Championships done for Alana Myers-Taylor and Lauren Gibbs.
They beat Kaylee Humphries at the start by 700s, 800s, and 700s, and here only 100, so that was the first mistake. Now she comes down too early. Now watch her going into the back of 8. Oh,
Yikes.
That's in her time eraser there.
Final run bump of the hip for Lauren Gibbs in the back seat. There's Alana. It's been an odd season for her, but she ends it in far better shape physically and mentally than she started it. Next up for Great Britain, Misha McNeil with Alicia Kiddle on the back handles. Misha, 5'6", she claims. I'll be right.
I don't think she's 5'6".
Great woman, 5'5½".
Ooh, little tap there before the start. Not a bad start though. 5'67", right in the mix. She was considerably off that in the competitions.
6 fastest starts so far out of our 7 sleds.
Right. That's about right. 2000s lead. Clean lines down here.
Natalie Durant pushed behind her in the Women's World Championships, and Alicia gets a chance in the team's
20
competition.
down to 11. If I'm the Austrians, I'm liking this.
Yeah. Half the track still to go and half the lead is gone.
Oh, she's already lost it. Yeah. Now the question is, how many spots could she fall? Because the Americans were like 200s back.
Little tap there, and at the moment, down to 4th place. They will plummet behind both the American teams and the Canadians. 5th place on the split times. And across the line in 5th spot. So they slipped 5 positions. The Austrians still in the lead. Sanne Decker on the right, Christina Hengster in the centre.
Nothing wrong with giving Christina Hengster and Decker a little light here for what they've been through on starting on Friday.
Alicia gets her ride with Mish, but
she had 20 hundredths lead, and then up top of the track, a little problem. And this is up top where you can't make a mistake. Watch this airborne. See, she hit that little bump going into the curve, and then you got to steer around. Look how high she has to get. Now, this is the entrance to Kreisel. She's way up there. Frosty ice. Now she'll dive out. But actually, she came out pretty good.
Well, smiles all round from the British girls, but the team slips down to 5th position. Still have 6 teams to go. So our international lineup, we started off with Kilian von Schleinitz for Bavaria. Next we have Romania's Maria Constantin with Erika Alei, who is her alternate brakewoman. So Erika gets her World Championship start in a team competition.
Usually the Romanians have a full team, but I asked Maria, where's the skeleton kids? She said, they quit.
Yeah.
Surprised to hear that about a couple hours ago.
Erika may well end up behind Maria in World Cup racing next year because their other brakewoman, the prime brakewoman, is starting to drive and only missed out on a chance to come and compete as a driver in the World Championships. But she didn't get enough races done on different tracks this season. That will be figured out by the end of the year, I'm sure.
Andrea Grikou.
Yeah. So Andrea may appear, and just a guess, she might do the World Cup race in Koenigsegg after these World Championships as a driver.
But we'll see them in the 4-man.
Yeah.
4 women.
This is very true. The Romanians will have a sled in the 4-women event as well.
I can't. 4 women. It's tough to get to say that in my career.
4-seater.
Coaching old dog new tricks. Here's the Austrians. Take a look up. You're gonna.
Kilian von Schleinitz.
Another team they're picking up.
Yes,
it's the international. 14. It's close. There's 3 sleds with the 1400s.
There we go. They've all got their Where's Wally hats on.
Not a bad ride down the track.
Well, they dropped 5 spots though, and as you say, it is so tight.
See, in bobsledding, there's not a lot of movement. Skeleton was where the movement is. The skid here, not bad. She didn't steer away from the skid.
So Maria Constantin, Erika Alei. Slip down the order a little, the Austrians leading. Every time you see them, there'll be a little bit more warm clothing on.
Nothing wrong hanging around that leader's box.
Now, here are the other Austrians. Yeah, there are other Austrians. This is the B team, the juniors, catching bar with Victoria Hahn on the back sled, on the back handles of the sled, rather. Watch this with the right hand. Oh, well, they always cut away. She gives you a nice little rub and then some really hard slaps just to get the brakewoman fired up.
A few Austrians out here screaming for these athletes.
Look at the way Victoria slips into the sled almost unnoticed. Great technique.
You need to. Victoria did not go with her in the competition. Their other breaker was a late scratch.
Yeah. Changed from Carleen Slipper.
Yeah.
And maybe Carleen just
20 minutes before the race.
Either feeling fatigued after the women's race or pulled something in warm-up. Maybe they just decided, come on, give Victoria a race. And do you know what? When you've got an alternate and you can start them in a big competition like this, get them some race time. Yeah, because next time you might really need them and they don't want to be a raw rookie.
2800s to 25. This should be down to the 12 or 13 here.
We have an Austria 1-2 here.
This is going to be right to the 100. Right to the 100.
Alexander Auer in the top, rubbing his hands.
200.
Oh, 200s. They're tied with the USA for second place. Alexander Auer in the top was rubbing his hands with glee. He thought they were going to stay in the lead.
Now,
look at a big smile on Katrin Biles' face.
So have the Austrians gone 8 times? They've gone up 8 spots already? They were second, right? Were they second or the third to last? Third, fourth. They got up 7 spots.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
There's the 200s plus. We all make the same mistake.
There's Victoria Hahn, Captain Bar's brakewoman. So, our next international team, Katie Eberling, who is a rookie, a World Cup level anyway, 2 years of driving. Yeah, Kristen Hurley, welcome to the big show, Kristen, 23-year-old from Cincinnati, Ohio.
First time we've seen her.
Now lives in that bobsledding hotbed, North Carolina. She's from High Point. Graduated college last year, came straight into the US bobsled program.
Certainly have a lot of good athletes in the U.S. program. Boy, got
Look at the way they sink in there. Great technique.
65's a good start.
Wow. Hello.
Third best start. Well, Eberling's had a good breakout. Ooh, she made a mistake there, drifted. Good breakout in St. Moritz last weekend, her first World Cup, and then a World Championships, top 10 finish. U.S. coaches are really high on her, you know, and it's, you know, I mean, Jamie Grubel posed her, and you got Alana Myers-Taylor, and now you got a girl like this pushing them. Nothing wrong, a little competition amongst the teams.
Katie needs to get herself another name, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Ooh, Katie Eberling Miller or something.
Ooh, real late. That's going to cost a lot of time, that skid. Even +1. They're going to get somebody else here.
Oh, she's late. She's letting it fly. Once it got to the line. Oh, 600.
She drops 5.
And they dropped 5 spots with 600s of a
5 sleds are within.
Insane
look
is
at that. There's 5. No, look at the 6th place sled. The first 6 sleds are separated by 700s. And the 8th sled's only 1,400s back.
Oh, boy, this track.
It's so easy to come down. It's just so hard. Watch this. Down, then it comes back up.
Yeah.
This is one of the roughest rides we've seen through here.
Drives it down a little early in the Kreisel in 9 runner and Bing Bang Bosch.
Wasn't it?
Well, it was exit Kreisel, exit 9. 2 key points on the track.
If they take her helmet off, you'll see the smile on this girl's face.
Absolutely.
You never see her not smile.
Listen, Valentine's Day, she needs another surname to join the American double barrel club, so somebody proposed to the poor girl. And good luck with that, by the way. Next up, Stephanie Schneider, junior world champion. Anne Lobenstein joins her. First time we've seen her in competition as well. And 20 years old.
Coming off a 4th place finish in her first ever World Championships.
Yep.
Boy, she's been impressive and post the best start time.
Bronze in the European Championships last week in St. Moritz as well. What a debut that was.
She was in the brakeman's position at the World Championships last year in Wittenberg with Kathleen Martini. She won a bronze medal, and the Germans have accelerated her to this. Is pretty astounding that she's made the jump this quick, this fast. Anja Schneiderheinz took her about 5 years just to break through to the World Cup team. But she was dealing with Sandra Kuriasis, Kathleen Martini.
Good looking run. 4,600 up, down to 35. This could be down maybe to 15 at the bottom.
Oh boy, she's right there in 12.
Everybody's been a little late, haven't they? Strange.
25.
Wow.
Whoa.
Found the base at the bottom. Yeah. Super.
Hey.
Yeah, that's a Jarl.
A Jawohlmeister.
I'd say absolutely that's a Jarl.
Watch out there, brakeman.
Whoa. Well, okay, so the rookie brakewoman will be taught about using the brakes.
Watch that area is getting pretty dug out.
Yeah. Once you get beyond the station, the train tends to pick up speed again.
Watch this. She comes a little late here. Watch her climb the wall here. She's on the wrong side of the curve coming up here. She's got to really steer. And now watch the back end here. Boom. Crossed over very nice. That might be the fast line because she was 17 to 25. Yeah, that almost rolled over.
The sled comes up because the brakewoman's pulling so hard, it's actually not on the runners, it's only on the brakes at the back, and that's when it tips over in that turn.
But then they just rolled under the wall there, so that's safe.
Next up, your world champion, ladies and gentlemen. Anja Schneider-Heinz won it just yesterday. Now, Franziska Bertels, her long-time brakewoman, joins her to try and win gold in the team competition.
I bet you she's 25, 30 hundredths ahead here at the bottom. 50s, 54, okay, 4,500 hundredths lead. That's going to be out to 70 the next clock.
That's 800s quicker than Alana Myers-Taylor and Lauren Gibbs went.
70 here. Oh, only 55. Whoa. Whoa, she might have done something wrong, curve 2 and 3.
Schneidy won the World Championship with the 20-year-old sensation Annika Drasek behind her, and it's only the arrival of Drasek really has kept Franziska Bertels out of the sled this year.
Yeah, she's going to have a solid lead here at the bottom. The question is, you know, the German one team was the one that I said was going to win this. Bush was adjusting the runners there, too.
Oh, 5400s up. Come on, Schneidy. Dig in one more time to your World Championship pot. Half a second the lead. 53-54. Germans
have had a couple good days.
That is going to put them in the lead. I'm saying that now because I'm not sure.
Nobody else going to touch that.
Alexandra Rozionova is going to get within half a second of Schneidy.
No.
Well, still not perfect, though. She had the fastest 4 trips in the Women's World Championship, and late down the labyrinth.
Late, but fast.
Yep. Well, she's got the hang of hanging it out there for the speed on this track. Anja Schneider-Heinze, Franziska Bertels put Germany in the lead with 1 team to come. So pressure on now for Alexandra Rozionova and Julia Schockschwaever. Schockschwaever also the alternate for Rozionova in the World Championships. She's been a regular World Cup starter.
Sure, for a couple of years.
Yeah.
I think she was on the I don't know if she was in the Sochi team or not.
Rozionova went with Nadezhda Viderka, who's got the shocker blonde hair. You can see just on the right there.
Well, they got a 25 or 30 hundredths lead from the first run from Chechikov. 68's not bad, so it's 12 hundredths, and that's probably going to get the red numbers before she gets to Kreis. That would put them at second. There's the red numbers.
Yeah. Well, the gap is exactly half a second, first to second, between the German teams. There's a lot of real estate that the Russians could neatly settle into.
She gets out of here 15, 20 hundredths down. She should take it. Boy, she's in the lead.
Whoa! Hello. Rozionova is finally getting a really nice run together.
This is pretty good. This is awesome.
The 32-year-old pulls out a 10th. But don't forget, all the lead came from the man on the hat above. 53-63.
Yeah, but she just delivered the goods. That's what Kaylee Humphries had, right? 53-63?
53-63. Who's had a 63? No, Humphries had a 49.
Oh, 14,
Schneidy
but still.
a 54.
Hey, that's pretty good time.
So only 900 slower than Schneidy down the track. The Russians have the lead by 1700.
So these girls overperformed. That's why the Russians are in the lead here. Look at the long stride. Or is that just the camera telling us?
Well, the camera really makes the girls' legs look great, doesn't it?
Great.
Yeah. 5:68, 10th fastest start, but 4th fastest drive. There's Julia Schockschwaever.
Hey, the Russians will take that in the lead at the halfway point.
Wow.
Yeah. I would have bet a lot of money. You were saying right away that
I thought that Schneidy could be the determining factor there, but that big lead that Alexander Tretyakov
look who they got coming up with next.
Yeah. Nikitina,
yeah. And
so they go into the leaders.
The Germans
box.
got Tina Hermann coming too, though.
So here we go, halfway through, 1700s now the margin. Come right down, Germany second and third, and then everyone else. I mean, everyone else within 1400 of a second pretty much. We've got 7 or 8 sleds from 4th place down to, well, pretty much 10th position, covered by less than a little over a 10th of a second, 1400s. So 10th plot, the international team, 1.06 off, but in 4th place, 92 hundredths off, so that's 1400 of a second. It's very tight there. So there we go. And that is the way that it is after 1 skeleton and 1 bobsled trip. And then we will get our men's skeleton athletes going down.
This little girl, we know this little girl.
Yeah, she was a
forerunner. She was a forerunner.
8 years old a couple of years ago here in Igls.
Nice crowd stayed out for the team event. I mean, it's a beautiful setting what they've done here in Igls, Austria. Really got to congratulate the Austrians what they've done here. This event has been well presented.
men's skeleton leg and women's bobsled leg completed. Back to skeleton then, and a chance for the women to compete. We go in reverse order, so Russian team will go off first, and a Russian team will go off last to defend their lead before we hand over to the two-man bob to decide our overall winners.
You know, it's easy to judge just the way the athletes are interacting, that they're having fun.
Yeah.
That's one thing we noticed about this event. The 8th time we've hosted it, and it's a fun event. The athletes are, you know, they can relax. Oh, you saw the De Bruyne, the Canadian girl De Bruyne, come back to her teammates, say, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not a lot of pressure.
Well, it's the only sport that they sort of compete for national glory rather than for individual glory now. So, into the third run, Russia 2, Canada 2, and the first of our 3 mix and match teams. The international teams will go off. And then, racking up at the top, Germany, who have won 5 of the 7 events that we've held before, and Russia, who have won 0 of the 7 events. The Austrians still challenging for medals. So then, Willi Schneider holds the Schneider sled for the first of our sliders, and this is Yulia Kanakina, the former ballet dancer. Kanakina, 20 years old, from Krasnoyarsk in Siberia.
Sprint. I mean, sprint, she only weighs about 80 pounds.
Who knew ballet dancers could sprint?
5:29. Wow. We know Trechikov was 100th off.
Yeah, well, we need to look at our skeleton start records. She is now trying to fight back up the order.
Yeah, they got a long ways to go, but they had, you know, their truck card in their team. Right, he was Tregobov. He fell off the, almost fell off the sled. Start.
Unfortunately, drilled the wall and all sorts of disasters.
So all we can do is just hope to
pick up
do your personal best and go down and see the way the cards lie down here. She looks good. I mean, she's nothing to her. 55.36.
Okay, well, that gives us a benchmark. The men came down, well, Trechikov came down, Tregibov rather, 53.66, her teammate. So she's 2 seconds slower than him, but then he didn't have a fast run by anybody's stretch.
Wow, ballerina? You think she's a little coordinated? She was pretty smooth getting on that sled.
Absolutely.
And we're just finding out now the start record is 5.11.
Whoa.
Held by the Nikita.
Nikita.
It's coming up, too.
Okay, I'm writing that down. So Elizabeth Vache for Canada. Brand new helmet for her this World Championships. The crashed ice with the maple leaf, and look on the back of it, you'll see the Band-Aid as well. Vache broke into the World Cup last year. Stunning start to her career. Silver medal in her first ever race in Lake Placid, then won her second ever World Cup race on home ice in Calgary.
Went on to the World Championship. Didn't she win a medal there?
Yes, she did.
Bronze medal. You know, the Canadians, they have a great legacy in sliding. Ooh, that's not a good drift there and tap.
5:36 getaway.
1000, so go down to equal probably here. But then she still has a chance on the bottom because she's one of these bullets on the bottom. Ooh, no problems at all. 11 to 21.
Busy with
a deficient start time. She really took off. 40. Wow.
Really getting something out
of her. She might like this track. She might like this track.
Well, she's from Calgary. She's a glider too.
Good warm-up for a lot of these athletes.
Whoa! Baron Martineau wincing there as he sees the high line, but she's 8/10 up from 300.
What a run!
A second clear. What's the track record from the truck, please? We got the start record, but holy cow, that was quick. 54.44. Super duper. I may not have heard that expression in 20 years. I think that sums it up. Nice work, Vache.
But this is a mistake here. Exit of Kreisel. Good there. Exit of Kreisel into 8. She's got a lot of steering to do there.
Oh.
And she's fast. So
Yes, she is.
if you're a coach watching that, they're taking notes on that because that was rough but fast.
Well, next up, a former world champion and World Cup champion, Katie Eulander, the Intercontinental Cup title holder this season, the first American ever to win the second tier of sliding, and channeling Jessica Rabbit with the long red hair. Katie, welcome back. Took a season off last year to recover from knee and ankle surgery. Went surfing, went track cycling. She's been weightlifting. 5:52, that's a good start too.
29 is with the Russian hat. Lying back. Her repertoire has always been, her resume is good, fast slider on the bottom part of the track, and she's already taken that 9 down to 7. And she could get green numbers here before the lap. Nope.
Always such a distinctive style. Knees and ankles apart on the sled. It's what works for her, doesn't work for everyone. If you ever see her with her ankles together, it's usually because she's swinging both legs. 1800s, drifting away a little bit down this Eagles track. It's been a few years since she's raced here, I think. 54.79. Canada remain in the leader's box.
54.72.
That's horrible.
54.79, in fact, so a little bit more horrible than she was told.
She used to have the best start when she won the World Championships.
Busted her knee up in a snowmobile accident, resulting in a couple of rounds of surgery. She had hip and ankle attended to last year as well. Next up, Laura Dees, a race winner already this season in World Cup action. Girl from Wrexham in Clwyd. Well, been a great day for Wales so far. 4th for Pembrokeshire's Bruce Tasker in the men's competition. The single best result that Great Britain has achieved on this track in 50 years, and on any track.
World Championships, in the World Championships.
Yeah, that was 54 years
a long time ago.
Yes, it was. 5:38, good start from Laura Dees.
Great start. That's what she does. She's a great starter. She's a very proficient slider because all of the British athletes are. Got Andy Schmidt coaching them for years, and we almost think that a lot of these British athletes slide like the Austrian athletes did in the 80s and 90s when they were the dominant country on the skeleton tour.
Chin piece dragging on the ice through the Kreisel.
Down to 19 though from 23 originally.
Yep. Trying to hold on to this advantage over the Canadian team.
How good was Vachi?
Yep.
Elizabeth Vachi smoked it.
1300ths of a second, just clinging on.
Should be enough.
Just enough, 900ths.
54.60. What did Vachi do? 54.44?
Yep. So smoking run from Elizabeth Vachi. And second fastest trip down in the women's skeleton leg for Laura Dees. More to think about as she gets ready for the women's competition, which starts next week.
This is out of the big curve 10. Let her look up. She taps there. That's a no-no. Then she comes in this curve late on the exit.
That might be the biggest hit we've seen, I think, from a skeleton sled. There's Laura. Well, speaking TV station coming next week to catch up with their Welsh athletes. Next up is Sophia Griebel, the 3rd of our German women in the World Championship. And she's in this international team 1. So this is your German-Romanian lineup. 25-year-old from Oberhof cites Marion Tees as her favorite athlete.
Well, it's great that the Germans would want to compete with the Romanians, especially when the Romanian skeleton team just upped and quit.
Yeah. The Romanians haven't been, their skeleton team have barely been on the World Cup all year. They've been running on an absolute shoestring.
Accomplished slider.
Doesn't have a start. 5:61.
Russian girl with 5:29.
Yeah, she needs a few more. Well, the track record is 5:11 as well, so that's half a second off the track record.
These are good numbers. She went from red numbers to green.
Yeah.
It's a good run for Greenwood.
She certainly knows how to slide the ice. 1200's up, so she's leaving Great Britain in second place, the Canadians in third. And it is international team 2 that takes the lead. Yeah, Can-Am works for Canadian America. What, come up with something for Germany and Romania. Jerusalem, that doesn't. Ruger, that doesn't work either.
Have somebody tweet us.
Germano-Romanian International Team 1. That makes it even worse, even harder to say. They lead from Great Britain and Canada. Happy looking Sophia Griebel. Next up is start bib number 10 for Jane Channel of Canada 1. Girl from North Vancouver, 27-year-old, half Japanese. Second season in the World Cup skeleton. From a softballer, track and field athlete.
A very good athlete.
Yeah.
She gets great starts.
Watch the speed of her legs.
Leg turnover,
Yeah.
drive.
Insane. Maddie Charney promised to dish the dirt on Jane before we get to the World Championships. Give me a few more little tidbits. So far, drawing a blank.
24.
That's a good
Best
getaway.
start.
Wow.
If she can start like this on this, I'm going to bet right now that she's a medalist.
She gives herself
With that
such
type
a
of
shot,
start,
doesn't she? Yeah.
With that type of start, she's going to be in the medals here at the World Championships next weekend. Look at the lead. And besides the good start, she's pretty good coming down the track, too.
Yep. So she and Elizabeth Valle both showing in this team's race that they've got individual medal potential for Canada.
Lost some time back there out of crisis.
A lot of work with the elbow.
52.
See her elbow, right elbow comes out a lot. Sure, she's got the control of the sled that she wants.
Low, she's well, almost tipped over.
I'm really not sure she's got the setup that she needs on this track.
Wow, she lost 65 hundredths of a lead. Wow, so much for my prediction. She's going to win a medal. I might have to take that back.
Gone from 6500s to 300s up. And that was a wild ride. She was struggling for control from the moment she
But
laid
look at
down.
her athleticism.
Yeah.
Look how far back she comes with her arm. Great track and field technique to pull yourself through the air. Great athlete. But down here, look at this. What do they call that? A scorpion?
Yeah.
The leg
Not
comes
quite,
over.
but
Almost.
yeah, she had no control down there. Look for her online. Type in C Jane Run, because oh boy can she. Next up, the first team on the ice, led off by Nathan Crumpton. Katie Ebling, Kristen Hurley were their women's bobsledders. This is 36-year-old emergency room doctor Lynette Prediger. Only started because a friend of hers at the hospital was going sliding. She was a volleyballer before. She's visited 50 countries. That was before she started competing internationally in skeleton. I'm sure that's added to that list.
Start deficiency. She competed in the Worlds last year.
Yep. Did the full World Cup season last year. She hasn't done a World Cup race this season. She was the forerunner in Whistler. North American Cup races.
Isn't her husband also slide?
Yeah. He was the forerunner as well. Unfortunately, he got crushed every time. So, I think he's probably had to buy a lot of champagne and dinners since then.
Big deficiency here to overcome.
Yeah. Third at the start, slipping down 6 positions at the moment. Not sure Lynette's entirely familiar with this track. She may have raced here once, maybe twice before. Girl from Oxbow, Saskatchewan originally, now lives in Calgary, Alberta. Sorry. Greer's saying sorry as the Canadian in the international team slides down the order, but Canada still in the leaders box. 7 of our 14 sleds down. So many positions changing around in this midfield pack.
She came out on that right side, and then her left. Pretty good line there. Boy, she buried with that time, that start time.
Lots to think about for the World Championships proper. Tuffy Latour with the sled now for USA 2's Kendall Westenberg, 25-year-old World Cup rookie this season from Modesto, California. She only started 2 years ago. She's the #2 US slider. California girl, favorite food, In-N-Out burgers, naturally. I don't think that's responsible for her 2 fake teeth.
6th best start. Isn't she the one that's got double jointed shoulders?
Double jointed shoulders and 2 missing teeth. Not sure if that's a legacy of starting sliding or whether she came in looking like a hockey player.
55 down, needs to stop the bleeding. They're gonna fall a couple places. 57. She's done real good at the speed part of the track. She gives up time at the start. Come out of there too early. 52, so she's coming back.
At the moment in 2nd place. Late exit off 9 as well.
Get in the 30s or 40s maybe.
Didn't catch up with her in training. I'm not sure how many trips she's had down
Get this
here.
down. This is a pretty good comeback.
I would think this is only her 3rd ever run down this track.
Great.
Wow. Good effort. Good effort. 54.74 for Kendall Westenberg.
Yeah, it's good. Make a big comeback like that.
I'm pretty certain this has got to be her first trip here to Eagles.
54.74.
Do you know what? World Cup rookie, 2nd year of sliding, she just takes this whole thing in her stride.
This was a little late on the exit of 9, but she didn't steer away from the wall, took her medicine.
Hey, you picked up a lot of time.
There's her teammates.
Thanks, guys. Sorry about that. Don't apologize. That was awesome.
Sorry about that. She did good in the bottom.
Yes, she did. Well, she's thinking that they didn't hold their lead, but that doesn't always happen. Next up, in the Austria junior team, one of the most junior of the athletes in the women's skeleton field, just 20 years old, Karina Meyer from Innsbruck.
No relation to those other Meyers.
No, spelt differently, different heritage. Started in 2008 at 12 years of age. That's positively vintage for some of the Austrians. Joined the national team at 18 2 seasons ago. Handed off by Mickey Grumberger.
2 Austrian teams in the next 5. Pretty cool. 7th best start. Yeah. She needs to be magical down here. She's at a deficiency of 3,200s.
That's behind our current leaders,
Now
Canada.
6,200s.
Canadians are climbing the order.
Well, that was the Jean Chanel. Unbelievable. Her time fell away in the bottom, so she could take that 68 and maybe get it down to 30s. Yeah.
I don't know. Jane's got a lot of height and mass advantage. Karina really is very petite indeed.
Came back some.
68 from 72. What can she find? Nice low line in 14. Swallow dives to the line, brings it back down under 6'10". So 55.16 slide. 7th of our 9 women's skeleton athletes who have gone down.
Canadians got a pretty good guy in the hole, Justin Cripps.
Yeah. So Austria slipping 6 spots.
Look at the athleticism. Look at the hand. It's like a sprinter. It's a technique. You have to involve every aspect of running, but you're bent over. And then here, look at the bump she takes down there in the labyrinths.
12-13 crossover.
Yeah.
Little bump there. Everybody hits. Annie O'Shea of the USA. Well, she now, with their team lying in 5th spot after 2 legs, wants to try and give Steve Holcomb a good boost by moving them up 1 or 2, maybe closer to the medals.
Should be a good start. Should be in the 30s.
Startzeit sehr gut, 5:37, 5:37.
She too a World Cup winner this season, one of 3 women to win World Cup races in women's skeleton.
She won a second medal too.
Late victory on home ice in Lake Placid.
Came out of the 3rd spot. The other 2 sleds couldn't match her. And then in Park City, Bristol, she won a medal. Bristol, I think she won a medal. 2800s back.
She's lost 2 tenths and more from 800s behind at the start.
Good lines here, though. Remember, Jean Chanel had a tough trip back down here, 26. She's running out of track. She'll get it down to the teens. That'll be Cripps and Holcomb head-to-head. There's 18. So Cripps and Holcomb will go head-to-head for the best North American sled.
54.75, a second slower than Alana Taylor, Myers-Taylor and Lauren Gibbs in their bobsled. Amazing how something so small and light can cover the track almost as quickly as something so big and fast.
Pretty good athlete, always gets top starts. 4th best start so far of the women's skeleton.
There's probably only one quicker starter to come as well. That'd be Yelena Nikitina.
Girls have, people having fun. See this? They're all just no pressure.
I'm sorry. Okay, here we go, 4 to go. Next up, a girl who unofficially set a new track record in one of her 2 training trips yesterday for this team competition. Janine Flock, the poster girl for Austria's skeleton team.
Coming off our European Championship last weekend in St. Moritz, which lit up the media here.
Austria's World Cup champion as well.
A lot of pressure on her. Her teammate, Christina Hegster, in the same position, came down in the first heat of the women's race, crashed. The odds on her crashing, she might have been 500 to 1.
Well, maybe the great news for Janine is she gets to compete in the team competition first and, like, maybe just blow away those nerves before the big deal next week.
Well, she's down 32 hundredths. She's got to stop the bleeding here. 30, here it is. She's going to get it down. Next clock, if she gets it down to 17 or 18, she could take the lead by the bottom. There's 20. Yeah, she's going to be single digits at the next clock. So she's showing that she's one of the best in the world, and it's on her home track. There's the green numbers, and she's flying. She might post the best time with this.
Fastest so far, 54.44, and she goes 54.19. Are you kidding me? 2 tenths of a second, 25 hundredths quicker than Elizabeth Vache. 54.19. I'm going to have to write that down somewhere else. Talk amongst yourselves. I need to know that when we get in to our World Championships next week.
Well, she set the track record unofficially in training. And I think I don't know what the track record is, but I think it'd be official. This is a World Championship heat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now we're being told 54.07. She's 12 hundredths. If I'm Austria, I feel pretty good about the poster child for this World Championships. Look at the lines.
Yeah.
Wow. Perfect in 8.
Oh, some happy Austrians.
Yeah.
Jawohl. Okay, well, now up come 3 of her toughest rivals for Germany. 20-year-old Jacqueline Lurling.
She's going to give up a total amount of time here at the start. She's going to run out of track. She'll be a speed master at the bottom. Speed merchant. She's got 2100 lead. That's probably going to go down to 10 or 11 here at the next clock.
She started 5.53. Janine started 5.49, so only 400ths of a second between them. And Lurling, like Janine, is tall, long-legged,
she's even taller.
Carries a lot of mass.
She's a good glider, so this track favors her gliding here at the bottom, and she's pulling away.
2500ths, 2900ths up. Janine Flock did a 54.19. Will we go down into single digits?
Yes. This is challenging the track record here.
Here we go. Track record 54.07, and she sets
54.10.
300ths off the track record.
Wow, she gives up so much time at the start and then comes down in a rocket. The tallest athlete in the competition for skeleton, women's skeleton. Do you realize what you just did, Jacqueline? You're 100 from the track record. Nobody said anything to her.
Wow. Anyway,
Come on, smile.
It's not a
Thank
new
you.
track. It's 3 whole hundreds away. There's plenty of room for improvement.
300's off the track.
Off 2 training runs, by the way, not 6.
Wow, good sign
that
for
they'll have
Germany.
had. And also, Tina Hermann, our World Cup points leader, looks set to win the Crystal Globe at the end of the season and take over that honor of the World Cup champion from Janine Flock.
Well, this is the big guns team here.
Yeah. You know, she's got to be a good bet for a podium, at the very least in the Women's World Championships.
Well, with her start and her talent right here, they might have a huge lead here in the bottom. She's got 5,800s now, 45 start. It's not the 29, but
Learning started 53, so
that's pretty good.
Yeah,
Only the
giving away
800s away. Usually she's 2/10 better. 6,200s, and this is going to open up. This is going to be a huge, insurmountable lead that the second, third place teams have right now no chance. The only people to challenge these guys will be the Russians coming up next. They've got their own little trump card.
just look at the way she's driving this track, though. It's absolutely flawless.
She's so quiet on the sled.
She's opened up another 2/10. This will be a track record. She goes for
There it
a
is.
53.74. That's not 100th or 200ths. That's 3/10 of a second. 3300ths inside the track record. A third of a second. And to put that into perspective, that's like Usain Bolt breaking a record by a third of a second.
3/10. 3/10.
That's insane.
And she's the World Cup leader. She's won 4 times in the Tour, so 4 times.
Yeah.
She makes it look easy. Now watch her just casually come down the track here at 70 miles an hour. Look at her feet together. I mean, she's a little bit like a Martin Stucars, the way she's sliding on this sled right here.
I'll tell you what,
nice job.
the odds on her just halved. I haven't got any money on yet.
There
Darn it.
might be 3-2.
We need to get online right now.
Well, watch out for the start record here.
Yelena Nikitina. Watch out for her all the way down this track as well. Like Tretyakov, she starts gangbusters. Like Tregibov, she loses a bit of pace, but it's a short track. Less stuff, less ice to lose speed on. Start record 5:11.
She's probably going to beat 19, 22, 19. It's expected. This is a Russian missile, whatever you want to call them.
Now the track announcer is shouting new best start site. Doesn't necessarily mean barn record.
Best start of the
in
heat.
the competition, yeah. By some margin.
She's got 5,200s in the bank. You know, but these guys they've got Kasanov coming up who didn't have a great two-man competition. And the Germans got this guy
4/10. It's coming down.
Lochner coming up. So then it's Germany. She's got to get a 3/10 lead here.
What can she hold on to?
Oh, she's not.
16.
She's lost
it
it
could
all.
be in single digits.
Could be red.
She might be behind. Will Germany lead?
Yeah.
They do.
Oh, that's about I think it's now going to be a victory lap. The Germans.
Inside the old record by 900ths, and that's not enough to hold the lead.
Yeah.
A 53.98 won't do it for Yelena Nikitina. Wow. Wow, Tina Hermann. Good start of 5:19.
Look at her arm come across. All the sprinters are taught for straight out and back like you're running. Look at her arm. Can't believe they've not tried to change that on her, but of course they don't want to change when you're the best in the world. Look at, again, her arm's coming from outside in.
She started 5:19. Tina Hermann started 5:45. 2,600 slower. And she came down 3/10
Look
faster.
all the girls have all got roses. How good is that?
Yeah.
That's the organizing committee here doing such a great job
Yeah,
with
it's Valentine's
Valentine's
Well,
Day.
they're not roses, are they? They're answers on a postcard, please. But yes, very nice. Very nice. Gerberas, there we go. Don't ask me where that came from. 3 legs in, Germany lead, 5-time champions in the Team World Contest. Russia in second, 700s, that's the battle for gold. And then Germany 2, can the Austrians catch them? 4/10 of a second they need in their men's bobsled run to overhaul Germany 2 and get a World Championship bronze medal. Behind them, look at that, Canada and the international team 300ths of a second apart. More close battles further down. 12th and 13th, only 200ths apart. So our 14 teams will go in reverse order, which means that the new leaders, Germany, will go last. Johannes Lochner, the junior world champion, the silver medalist earlier today, will have the honor of trying to go for a world championship gold in the teams competition. He'll have a new brakeman to us, Tino Pasch, who's done a few junior world championships and raced in Europa Cup behind him. Men's skeleton, women's bob and women's skeleton are done. It's down to the 2-man leg now. We go for our final heat, last to fast. Russians will be first on the ice. The Germans will be last to go. And who's going to take the gold medal? Fresh snowfall on Monday, making the glossy white of the Tyrol Mountains very, very stark above the city of Innsbruck. And although the snow's vanished in the city, there's still a little bit on the ground here at the track at Igls. Mingling with the fans, an awful lot of skeleton sliders I've seen. Lots of coaches trackside as well, but lots of athletes here still. Lots of bobsled athletes haven't gone home after the 2-man contest either. So you see a lot of people in team gear. A few coaches, a few athletes, and a few Glühwein aficionados.
Really?
Yeah.
That's where we should be.
In due time, in due time. So here we go. The Russia 2 team will be first off, and Russia 1 will chase down Germany 1 for the gold medal if they can. 700s separate our top 2 with a final run of men's 2-man bobsled to go. So for Russia 2, Nikita Zarov with, I beg your pardon?
Russian, that's the...
No, it is the men, so it is Nikita Zarov with Vasily Kondratenko behind him. Kondratenko, 26-year-old from Krasnodar, behind his 28-year-old driver. Now, Zakharov didn't race in the 2-man World Championship individual contest. This is his 2-man drive for the weekend.
He'll be in the 4-man. So he's getting an extra couple trips of practice.
You would think so, wouldn't you?
Adrianov won in the 2-man, but I think Adrianov's one of the crew members. The 4-man, Adrianov gets better starts than Zakharov, so they're just trying to give him some action. The rabbit in the men's bob.
Decent looking run down through the labyrinth. Let's see what he gets the line in. A 52.16. Doesn't look like a bad slide. Now, whether it's enough to move them up the order or not remains to be seen. Russia 2 team have now done all they can. They will be in the leaders' box at least briefly.
The best run of the weekend so far has been a 51.32. This is 52.16.
Yep.
Okay.
So 8/10 away. That's why he wasn't in the 2-man contest. There's Nikita.
Всем привет.
Vasily Kondratenko. Next up for the USA, the man who has been blowing everybody away in training. He's been forerunning every heat and just decimating them. Stunning starts from Justin Olsen and some stunning drive lines as well. Now he gets to show it in competition.
Evan Weinstock on the back. He's a decathlete. 7,600-point athlete, and he's another Princeton guy. Again, pretty sure, yeah. This is his debut. 5:08. Wow. It's only 10 hundredths off the start record.
Yeah.
But he's buried way back on this international team.
But with the speed he has, he could pick them up a few spots.
Well, the 5:08 considered Holcomb and Cunningham had in the 20s. Cunningham had low 20s, Holcomb had high 20s in the race. 5:08's pretty good.
Yes. And it's only his lack of points because he's been racing at a junior level that means he didn't get a spot on the World
Cup. Spot on the World Championship team by 20 total points in the season. Well, he beats himself up. That happened to him in St. Moritz. He didn't have a very good 23rd place, I think, in St. Moritz. He would have had like a 20th place. I think he would have got in.
Oh, 51.83. Good run down from Justin Olsen. There's his teammates, they're liking that.
51.83?
Yeah.
Well, the track record was 51.55.
Yeah.
Then they got it down to 51.32. So it's not bad. 6/10 off the track record.
Second year of driving.
Big guy. Weinstock, also a big guy. Olsen, though, has got an Olympic gold medal around his neck from Steve Holcomb's night train team at the 2010 Games in Vancouver. And another guy, just wish he would have made that front seat transition in 2011. He took a few years before he did. Didn't start seriously doing it till last year.
Next up for our international team, Nick Poloniato. We first saw him as a brakeman on Kaylee Humphrey's four-seater sled a couple of seasons back. Driving 28-year-old from Hamilton, Ontario. He's got Cam Stones behind him, 24, born in Whitby, Ontario, now lives in Calgary. Played under-20s rugby for Canada.
Yeah, just joined the team a couple weeks ago. Big boy, played number 8.
Best position in rugby. Loves Tarantino movies and burritos. Well, there's a nice hint for Valentine's.
Yeah. 5:25 start, so they're 1,700s back of what Olsen did in Weinstock, I'm sorry.
3,100s back. So battle of the international teams.
32 means he stopped the bleeding and he could start eating into that time down here. 33.
A little more time on ice than Justin Olsen, but not a huge amount.
Good lines there. Nice line on the exit of 9.
Still second place ahead of the Russian team. His teammates in the top box, your current leaders at the bottom.
52-13.
They slip a spot. So your international team, the Can-Am team.
Yeah, 4 Americans, 2 Canadians.
Nice run, man.
Not sure how they figured out which was Can-Am and which was Am-Can. Yes, Evan Neufeld leading off for the international team makes that Can-Am, and Nathan Crumpton for this team makes it Am-Can. So our international athletes, first and second. Russians lie third.
Kids having fun.
Oh, come on, you guys, lighten up a little. There's your junior Austrian team. Here is Markus Treichel with Frank the Tank Esterhammer behind him.
Thanks, another rugby player.
Yeah. I don't think it was his bobsleigh teammates that gave him the Frank the Tank moniker. He looks like a bit of an unstoppable force as well.
Uh-oh, drift tap. That's going to be costly. 5:24 starts, not too bad. But that tap is...
Brendan played rugby for Austria's international team, so he was not just a national, he was an international standard player. Good steal then for the bobsled crew.
Power, that's, you know, a lot of the things that they do in rugby and bobsledding, you know, a lot of power drills and explosion, a lot of training. In my day, I played rugby in the summer and bobsled in the winter because the two sports have a lot of things in common in the evening activity.
Apart from beer. 800s behind at the start.
Really high there.
4800s back now. Slipping away, down to third place. Both international teams move up. So this will be the last of the Austria 2 team. There's your leaders.
Manfred Mayer on the left up there. Franz Joseph Hoffman, the longtime coaches of the Austrian program.
Not sure whether Marcus Treichel goes in four-man or not next week.
Yeah, he does.
They have enough brakemen.
Pretty sure he does.
He had a good Junior Worlds. I think it was bronze in Junior Worlds in four-man, so they'd like to get him if they can, I'm sure.
Parents, who this wasn't helpful. So, you know, I had dinner with his parents at a reception at the Austrians threw at the opening ceremonies on Thursday night, and saw his parents both at the track today and yesterday. So they're here rooting their son on, very proud.
Yeah, wouldn't you be? Home city advantage.
Came from Luge.
Yeah. Another good steal for Austria's bobsled program.
Yeah.
Stealing from Skeleton and Luge. It's cannibal out there. Chris Spring, originally from Darwin in Australia's Northern Territories, with Sam Giguère. Sam only recently rejoined the team. Wide receiver for the Montreal Alouettes over the last 2 years. He's been back in the CFL program. 6 foot and 220 pounds of him.
Yeah, there's power, hips down. So you know the power to come from. Sam, good athlete. Springer, showed how good a driver he is, winning a World Cup in Whistler earlier in the year, finishing, I think, 6th in the World Championships. Yep. Best finish ever for him in World Championships. Green numbers.
Brown the day off, or the afternoon off at least. 300s in the lead.
Good sign for Canada.
Yeah.
He should be able to get that to 5. He should get that to 10 or 15 here with a good run.
Spring has really made this sled fly this week. This is his old favorite. It's called Obi-Wan, an ex-Todd Hayes development sled.
1300, it should be 20. Well, he's flying down here.
So Canadians in the leader's box. Canadians at the top, and they take the lead by 2200s. 51.83 slide for Chris Spring.
Now they're starting to realize when the camera's on them and they're starting to ham it up.
Yeah.
See that? They're starting to figure things out.
Well, two really
they should
good
have
trips.
Yeah, they should figure it out. It's time to be fun. Take a look at the start. Sam wasn't sliding with him all week long. He's the king. Watch the feet, the hands.
He's got back into the old routine well, hasn't he?
Watch the runner. Look at the runner. He's carrying the sled.
Yeah.
That means the nose has got more pressure down on it, even though it's up in the air like that. So I don't know much about physics, but I would think that's not what you want to do to reduce friction.
Wide receivers don't spend.
Back on next week.
Wide receivers don't spend that much time bent that low, do they? If you get down that low, it was a poor pass. Well, next up, Bruce Tasker with Joel Fearon, 4th in the World Championships.
Baines.
John Baines comes in for this team's competition. Slid for the RAF bobsled team. He's a technician in the Royal Air Force. And then was called up for the Sochi Games at late notice by Great Britain Bobsled. And he's never left.
5:12. Tasker was getting 5:06 in his race. That's a pretty good start.
Yeah.
Speed's excellent.
These guys will all be in four-man duty next week with John Jackson and Lamin Dean driving.
I think the reason he did so good is because of those GBR graphics that you put on that slide.
I'm claiming that. I'm claiming that.
You should. 20 down to 14.
Oh, this is a close run thing with Chris Spring.
Looks like enough, though.
Nice height there, out of 10.
Oh,
Pulls it
no. Red numbers coming up.
Let it fly. The Sutia sled has got speed. Oh, 600's back. 51.98. Well, he never slipped a spot in the whole two-man World Championships. They slip one here behind Chris Spring and Sam Giguère. Bruce Tasker and John Baines. Well,
Bruce, you've had a great day, buddy.
Hasn't he, though?
Great day. Best finish for the British team in the World Championships two-man competition.
Better just mention.
Since 1965.
Better just mention 2005 Worlds. 7th place for Lee Johnson and Dan Humphries. Lee will be very pleased.
7th?
I know, 7th.
7th.
Yeah.
I checked that out, too.
Yeah.
Here's your rank.
So Canada have the lead from Great Britain and the AmCams and the Can-Ams. And we have 6 of our 14 teams down. Nick Cunningham for the USA. Next up with James Reed. Spoke to his mum and dad at the track this weekend again as ever. Puppy's still getting into trouble, you'll be glad to know, John.
Saw him all day in the track.
His sister here this weekend as well. I'm not sure if that's the first time she's been in a race.
5:24, pretty much what Cunningham got in the 4 heats, which put him in a serious disadvantage on this short 220-meter track that puts the largest emphasis on the start of any facility or venue we use on the tour.
One of the closest tracks to where James Reed grew up. Lived 16 years in Garmisch-Partenkirchen in Bavaria, where his parents still live.
Pretty good. Nick just went, stopped the bleeding. It's pulling away.
Here we go. Good run. And that's the 9-10 transition that he was getting wrong all day today. 1700s, his teammates at the top. And the leaders at the bottom. Who's going to be happy? It is his teammates. They squeeze the Canadians out of the leaders' box. Gerberers and very questionable eyewear there.
Oh, there's a positive for Nick Cunningham to take it this week.
James Reed laughing like a fool.
No, that's Nick.
Is that Cunningham?
Yeah, because he finally did it. Finally had a good run. You know, the getting in this thing.
Be nice to give out. Actually, don't have the full results of the two-man. Be interesting to see if this is his fastest trip of the weekend.
What was his time?
Might be 51.90. Well, there's the smile back on the Cowboy's face.
He's always smiling.
Yeah, well, that's a bigger one. Next up in his BMW stead, Stephen Holcomb, the former world and Olympic champion. And he's got Sam McGuffey on the back of the sled. McGuffey ran track at the University of Michigan, then at Rice. Spent 2013 with the Raiders, the Cardinals, and the Patriots. Last year, CFL with Winnipeg's Blue Bombers.
51.93 was his best run. Cunningham, so at 51.90 was best of the weekend.
Yeah.
It's getting a little colder, too. I think the track's setting in a little...
Oh, little heavy load there from Sam McGuffey.
Running back at Michigan, then he went down to Rice.
Yeah.
Good athlete.
200s behind, 700s behind their teammates. Oh, Holcomb's not going to like this, losing out to his teammates. You've got to beat them first before you can beat
Here he
anybody.
comes, though. Don't count him out. Because anybody can find a fast line at the bottom part of the track. It's Stephen Holcomb.
9 to 10. And that might be what makes the difference at the bottom.
Yeah, he's not going to do it now.
Oh, it's going to be close. Look at Cunningham and Reed on the right at the bottom.
+4.
Oh, 800s. A 52-second slide for Stephen Holcomb.
They beat all the way down the track.
Cunningham a 1/10 of a second quicker. What did he say? 51.9. Holcomb 52 flat.
Yeah.
Not much in it, was there? Only 200s of a lead
Watch
to start with.
Brakeman here, watch he gets in here. I mean, he doesn't have a full season of experience yet. Look at them, both huge things. He's jumping right in. Look at that.
And as he jumps in, his feet have to go around the back of Holcomb's little seat. So it's insane how they can do that with no support. They just throw themselves in the sled. There's Sam on the left, Steve on the right. Might have chafed a little when he hit the floor of the sled. Dorin Grigori for Romania with Florin Crăciun behind him. This international team one, Germano Romanian lineup. They're actually the best of the internationals with Romania handling the bobsled. Can they keep themselves in contention here? This is in the group where there are only a few hundreds to play with between the teams. It's close, hundreds up. Oh, and that's half of that lead gone in that little skid, surely. Oh, more than that. It's erased totally.
He's going to be 2,500s at the next climb.
Now the two US sleds are 1-2, or two US teams are 1-2. They're only 800s apart. He's already down to 6th position. Big skid there.
Too.
Sophia Griebel really lit up this team's chances, didn't she? Now they're going to slip back down the order. You make so much more difference with the skeleton run than you can with the bobsled run. And they come unstitched down to 7th place. USA 1-2. USA 2 currently in the leader's box. So Doran Grigor of Romania slips down the order with a 52.81 slide. To put that into context, Nick Cunningham, 51.90.
Watch the backside. He taps here to watch what it does, and he goes into the curve. Sliding across ice. Going into the curve late, but he's got to steer. Steering is pressure. Pressure is friction. Friction is a loss of time.
Doran smiling as ever. Next up, international man of mystery, Justin Cripps behind him. He has got Ben Coakwell. So first trip down in competition of the weekend for Coakwell, the 28-year-old from Regina, Saskatchewan originally, now lives in Moose Jaw. Another former CFL player and track and field athlete.
Another football player, good technique. Look at his head locked into his shoulders. A lot of back and forth movement. Pretty good start. 3100s. He's not losing that 3100s. Now the question is, how much of a lead will Justin Cripps have here at the bottom? 38. So this is going to grow a little bit more. 45. 35. Oh, didn't grow that much. So now it's about equal. He might come back to the field a little bit here. 32, yeah. The running tips. Nice.
Right in 10, controls it on the exit, sets him up for the labyrinth.
25. Yeah, it'll be down in the teens probably, but this will be the leader. Canada.
Takes the lead, 0.2 of a second, 51.90. Same time that we saw from Nick Cunningham. Yeah, there's Justin Kovacs.
Up there. You see people having fun here?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's fun to see because it's such a serious sport. So much pressure on the athletes to come out here and just yuck it up is great.
Well, normally the guys in your sled group are your teammates. Here, it's different sled groups and different disciplines.
Yeah, he tapped a little bit coming into the Kreisel down here in the labyrinths. Let's watch the back end of the 13. And nice.
It's a battle of red and white now. There's Cripps on the right, Coakwell on the left. Red and white of Canada leading. Next up, red and white of Austria. Now the Austrians are going to try and overhaul the third-placed German team. That will be the target for Benny Meyer. And if he can, with Donat Moldovan, late-minute replacement, the ex-Romanian brakeman on the sled, this will be a big, big deal.
Start 5:15, not bad. What happened to Sam?
Well, Marcus pushed him in the 4 heats of the 2-man. It might just be that he's not as fresh and they want to rest him up.
4100s is a lot of time to give this talented young Austrian on his home track. 42, he's pulling away more.
It's not about the Canadians, it's about the Germans in third. This is about trying to get himself a World Championship bronze medal.
It would be the first ever for Austria. They've never won a team competition medal. They were 6th. This same group was 6th a couple years ago in Königsberg.
4,500's up. He is creeping away from the Canadians.
Fastest
and across
time,
the line, 51.88. 3 to go. Dare they
There's
hope?
his dad.
Dare they hope?
Well, they deserve a break.
Yeah, and he's had to adapt to this new sled. They borrowed it from Billy Meyerhands last week in St. Moritz, so he's been driving it for 2 weeks. A week's prep to come into the World Championships. Wow.
Well, impressed with the brakeman stepping in, getting a decent time. And Meyer, we're just been impressed with him last 2 weeks.
Yep.
The World Champion, or World European Championship silver medal last week in St. Moritz.
Really come alight, hasn't he?
Next week in the four-man, I don't know, he's an outside chance, but I think a top 5 more is probably what's going to happen.
3 teams left to go. Germany, Russia, Germany. The leaders are 700s apart. The battle for the bronze is what concerns these Germans now. Nico Walter with Janis Becker. Becker, the two-man world champion in 2013 in St. behind Francesco Friedrich. And Walter was a junior world champion in two-man as well.
And from Rouge, had a very subpar performance in the two-man. Nobody being more disappointed than himself. Tends to like to beat himself up a little bit, but you know, he's second in World Cup points and ended up, I don't know if he got the top 10. Four-man, he's won a couple times in the four-man.
Oh, this is looking good for the Austrians. The Germany's 100th in front, and now he goes in the red. This is going to put the Austrians into a World Championship medal-winning position. This is vindication. This is retribution for Christina Hengster.
Watch the celebration.
And the Austrians are in the medals on their home ice. Benny Meyer, Christina Hengster, Janine Flock, and Matthias Guggenberger are going to take a medal. And Nico Walter and Germany slip into second. It's not yet done, but the Austrians are definitely in the medals.
Wow. Nico has had a tough 3 days here.
Silence. Wow. Donat Moldovan, what a time to step up into an Austrian race suit for the Romanian. Look at Christina Hengster and Sana Decker, how happy they are. I don't know where Matthias Guggenberger is. Is he off being dope tested already? Okay, for the gold, 700s separate the top 2 teams. Russia, who've never won, and Germany, who've won 5 of the previous 7 teams contests. No pressure then for Alexander Kashanov of Russia.
Can't believe what Benny Meyer just did.
And Maxim Mokrosov, his brakeman. And they are not so far ahead of the Austrians that they might not slip with a shocker. They're in safely. There's no hit on the first corner.
They got a second.
They should be in there.
Yeah, once they get through that first curve. Now, this is like a victory lap for at least the silver medal. But if he wants to challenge this guy Lochner coming up next.
This has got to be absolutely top draw. He's already lost 2/10 to the Austrians.
That's relative to the start.
Yeah.
That's pretty much stopped the bleeding there. So he might get it down to 70. I don't know if that's going to be enough.
I'm not sure that Russia are going to win this.
No, but they're going to win a silver medal at least. Unless Lochner tries to run into the wall. Look, he's pulling away now.
Yeah, the Russians are going to take the lead away from the Austrians, but they won't take the medal away from the Austrians. Russia lead, but Austria are in the medals. The Russians leading with 1 sled to go. 52-2-0, which means Lochner needs to be 52-2-7 or better for gold.
Well, it guarantees the leaderboard's got 3 different countries on the podium, which is great. Kashanov, well, he won his first ever World Cup 2-man medals this year. He won a 4-man World Cup this year for the first time. He's had a good season, but on this track, he gets pretty exposed with that first 50-meter start time.
Lochner's first trip down the ice was his worst in the 2-man competition. He set a 51.57. He's got to get within 7/10 of that. The man who is the junior world champion, who won the silver medal earlier today, joined by Tino Pash, the 27-year-old soldier from Potsdam, who won the 2-man junior worlds in 2014 with Nico Walter. Can they win the team gold medal? So Johannes Lochner sets off with a 700th of a second advantage. Now 3/10 of a 5:03 getaway.
Just a run in the park for him.
Change out the brakeman, there's barely any difference.
Guy in the front seat might, you know, well, Francisco Friedrich, when he's healthy, might argue with him, the athlete that he is, but this Lochner kid can run.
Well, listen, Joshua Bloom, the brakeman in the two-man competition, got a silver medal, but Tino Pasch looks like he may be on the way to a gold medal here with Johannes Lochner.
This is a victory lap.
7/100ths of a second up. He's now nearly 7/10ths of a second up.
Good day for Mr. Lochner from the Stuttgart Bobsled Club.
Junior world champion. He is going to be team world champion for Germany as well. They will get their 6th victory in 8 team competitions. 51-62 wins it for Germany. Germany, Russia, and Austria, your medal finishers.
Pretty cool. Then you have Canadians and Americans, so you have 5 different countries in the first 6. That's pretty cool.
Well, great run from Johannes Lochner. He was always the ace in the hole, wasn't he? I mean, with Schneidi there, the world champion.
Tina Herman, the World Cup leader.
Johannes
and most likely the world champion coming up next weekend.
Yep. And Axel Jung threw his hat in the ring as well for a good finish in the world champs in the men's skeleton. Well, there is your winning team.
Anja Schneiderheinz, quite a day.
Yeah.
Never, now she's a World Cup
double world champion in 2 days. It's taken her 37 years. Well, no, she had 2 world championship and an Olympic championship before as a brakewoman. Now as a driver, she's a double world champion. So too is Johannes Lochner, junior world champion and team world champion, with a silver medal in the 2-man contest earlier this afternoon. Well, there's a big smile on his face, and Schneidi, what a weekend in her life. Yeah, you've got to think.
Still a good crowd on here.
Yeah, I think the odds on Tina Herman winning the women's gold medal halved, didn't they? So Germany, Russia, Austria, and Germany, Canada, and the USA. And behind them, the Canadians, the British, and our 3 international teams. What a good fun competition that was. Some highs and some lows, some standout performances, and some that people would prefer that we burned the tape of immediately. But the Germans win again.
See, not a lot of snow down in that valley.
Nothing at all in our town, in Innsbruck. Well, Tino Pasch and Johannes Lochner. Congratulations been offered by Michael Zakra. They got edged out of the medals by the Austrians by, what, 12/100ths of a second. Lochner is the coming man, isn't he? In the same way that Francesco Friedrich we saluted as such in 2013, he arrived the full deal, and it was only Friedrich that stopped Lochner being junior and senior world champion in 2-man bobsleigh in the same season. It won't be long. I think Germany are in very strong form at the moment.
Well, 2 years ago, about the same time, the Olympics in Sochi, Germans didn't win a medal. It was the first time since '56, I think, that the Germans had not medaled in the bobsled competition. They didn't medal the skeleton competition, so...
How well has Christoph Langen addressed that?
Well, they were pretty good in 2013 also, but...
Yeah. They have won gold in the women's bobsled. They have won gold in the 2-man bobsled. They have won gold in the team competition. And next week, well, the Dukurs brothers and Tretyakov might spoil their party in men's skeleton. Women's skeleton, they've got a great shot. And in the 4-man competition, they've got a great chance of winning almost everything here.
I don't think the Austrians will challenge for the gold because of their start time, but I think Benny Meyer got a chance to pull a 6th all the way up to a 3rd.
That would be a great result if he could get in amongst the medals. Really would. And Janine Flock as well. Can't count her out. She's just too good on this track. Confirmation of our team's competition. Germany winning for the 6th time in 8 Team World Championships. Russia in the silver medal position. And Austria in the bronze medal place after overhauling the German number 2 team. And that is Austria's first team medal. It's Russia's first silver. They've had 1 bronze before. And the Germans add a 6th gold. USA don't add to their medal tally. They've had 2 wins, a silver and 2 bronze medals in the team contests. So the Austrians on the medal table for the first time. It's a big, big thing for Christina Hengster and Sanne Dekker, especially after their disappointment in the women's bobsled. And for Benny Meyer and for Donat Moldovan, the former Romanian slider who popped up in this team competition. What a great start for them for next week. Gets them off on just the right footing.
Just stunning scenery around this place.
It's a steep valley here, isn't it? Deep in the Tyrol. And mountains flanking Innsbruck on all sides. Great skiing to be had high up there. And there's Anja Schneider high-fiving all and sundry. And hugs and kisses all around from the Germans, for the Russians, for the Austrians.
They had fun.
Yes, they did. Great competition. And competed in exactly the right spirit. Everybody out to have fun and to join with teammates that quite often they probably don't see very much of. In the other disciplines, the bobsledders tend to be around the track at the same time, but the skeleton athletes almost always train at different times of the day and on different days. So the Imperial Eagle and the Austrian flag on the podium. First medal of the competition of the championships for Austria. Janine Flock on the right there. May be in the medals next week in the women's skeleton competition. And Benny Meyer next to her, who knows? Who knows? With Christina Hengster, they are the Austrian hopes here, aren't they? And there's our champions. In comes Johannes Lochner to join Schneider and the rest of the team as Germany win the teams contest. A whole heap of fun and lots of competition here in Austria. So that's it for the first weekend of the World Championships. Lots to come next week. Men and women's skeleton and the 4-man competition. Join John Morgan, the whole IBSF TV crew, and me, Martin Haven. Thank you for being with us this week. We'll see you next week in Innsbruck for lots more World Championship action.